my loves. It's been a while since we've done Instagram Live. In fact, I'm running a couple of minutes late because I was just creating a tapping video to call in more passion and aliveness in your relationship. So I'm feeling so juicy and yummy for this chat about, I guess, reviving your romance. It's, bringing back in that excitement, the pleasure, the passion, especially after kids, okay? So let me know if you've got any questions in the comments and I can answer them. But I just want a really interactive conversation about bringing back passion, especially if you're a busy mum. And I want to begin with just sharing a little bit about my story, I guess. So you know where I'm coming from and the journey I've been on. And it's just going to be, I guess, relating to the topic today, okay? So I completely understand why romance and the passion and the intimacy can die in your relationship, okay? So if you're new to me, you're new to following me, you're new to my work, then what you might not know is I'm not just this person that shows up online every day, but I also have a 9-to-5, which I actually quite enjoy. I'm quite open that I actually love having my job. I like my job. I like what I do. But I also have this business. I'm also a mum. I'm also a stepmom. I'm also a dog mum. I'm a mum in all different kinds of ways. And we're actually a blended family of 7, which means we've got 5 kids now. The youngest being a toddler. He's about to turn 2. And the oldest is a teenager. So we've actually got 2 teenagers. And so I guess that's why I'm passionate about this, because anyone that can look into my life, and I remember a comment that got said to me in the very beginning, when I was first expressing all of this, and he said to me, do you have any joy in your life? And I'm like, what do you mean? I feel like I'm the happiest I've ever been. I'm living such a beautiful, magical life, and I'm in this relationship that is so healthy, that's so activating, that opens me up to so much, and I just feel at home every single day, regardless of the chaos, regardless of the stress, or regardless of what's going on in my life. I just completely feel held and supported by this man that constantly sees me, constantly wants to worship me and, I guess, ravish me, etc. Okay. So I just, oh my gosh, my incense is going wild. So I just wanted to share a bit about that to, I guess, make you feel seen. I see you. Okay, so after sharing my journey, I just want to actually, let's do a quick dropping in to this now, connecting to this message. Okay, so let's just drop into our bodies for a second. So I want you to close your eyes. I'm just going to do a little quick check-in. So I just want you to close your eyes and just take a few deep breaths. Feeling the support underneath you, bringing awareness to that point of contact that is naturally supporting you, holding you, making you feel held. And just for a moment, I want you to bring awareness to what's alive in your body right now. Any sensations, tingling, constriction, excitement, buzzing, heat, anything that you can feel in your body, just bring an awareness to it. And just acknowledging how you're arriving to this call with me right now. What's coming up for you? And I just want you to do a 2-word check-in, and you can write in the comment if you want, of what's alive for you. How are you feeling in this moment? How are you feeling about talking about passion, intimacy, all of the things in your relationship? And I guess to come from this place, that's the most important thing, is owning what's current and what you desire. So bringing an acknowledgement to what is your relationship status. What is currently alive for you in your relationship? Is it really boring, stagnant? It's just kind of like, and this is the most common thing, if you heard my podcast last week, the most common thing I'm seeing at the moment is basically people, when they talk to me about their relationship, it kind of feels like housemates living together. Now, there's no shame in that. I truly believe that we can revive that. So if that's your current status, that doesn't, I feel like that's a very long life if you're choosing to be with somebody that's just basically a housemate for life. raising kids together. Like, that's really boring. Like, let's revive that and bring back the excitement and the passion and the intimacy. Like, if you're going to be with this person, why not be fulfilled? Why not be satisfied? Because that gets to radiate from your being in every given moment. And something I also discussed in my podcast last week is your relationship in a lot of ways. Your life is reflecting it. A lot of the times, I already know what your bedroom life is like or your relationship life is by getting to know what your outside life is like. It's a reflection. If there's no intimacy, if there's no passion, if there's no pleasure in your relationship, and that relationship, let me just say, can be the relationship with yourself. I'm very big on that your relationship with your partner is also a reflection of your relationship with yourself. So let me just say, the relationship, when I'm talking about relationship, that can be either with your partner or with yourself. It doesn't necessarily have to be one or the other. Okay. So your life in a lot of ways is a reflection of your relationship. So if your relationship is non-existent, it's boring, it's stagnant, there's no excitement, there's no aliveness, there's no pleasure, and you're feeling very unsatisfied, like something's missing, like there's a hole, there's a disconnect, that's going to show up in your life. So this call is not about the steps you take to have the passion in your relationship, because every relationship's different. Passion doesn't come down from these are the 3 steps you need to do in order to have more passion. It actually comes from your connection with yourself. It comes from the ability for you to drop into your body. How open are you to receiving the pleasure, the love, the compassion, the excitement? How open are you to allowing it to ripple through your body? What tends to happen is we are in our masculine, especially as moms, majority of the time. We are very disconnected from our being, from our sexuality, from our femininity. When we're running around doing all the things for the kids, like, hello, 5 kids, I feel you, I get you. There's a lot to do. Especially if you're also holding down a job. Like, you are go, 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 go. You are giving your energy majority of the time. You are pleasing other people majority of the time. I get that. But that's when the connection to yourself becomes more important. So this is what happens, and this is what I tend to see, is you're so busy giving. You're so busy running around doing all the things, being the superwoman that you are, that by the end of the day, you're so exhausted, you're so depleted, you have no time or energy or patience to then connect with your partner. And that turns into a day, then that turns into a week, then that turns into a month, then it just becomes a habit. That just becomes a habit. Every day, at the end of the day, you sit down, turn on the TV, you tune out, you numb out, go to bed. You might give a kiss goodnight, roll over, sleep, repeat on the next day. Now, maybe you're different to me and put in the comments, does that feel exciting to you? Does that sound exciting? But yet that is what we are led to believe happens in relationships, in marriages. The reason why I don't talk about marriage with my partner, even though we've got 5 kids, we live together, we're in I'm planning on spending my life with him, but we're not married and I've never been married. So therefore I don't like using the word because it's very different, I guess. I haven't been in the energy of being married to someone. However, I do believe that marriage doesn't change anything. It's how you energetically feel about your relationship. So I energetically feel married to my person, even though I'm not physically married, if that makes sense. So I just wanted to clarify that. So as you can see how easy it is for the passion and intimacy to go out your window. And then what tends to happen is intimacy becomes a chore. People stop to think about intimacy, and they stop to think about the end result, which is having sex with a person. And they begin to think that that's the end goal all the time. And then they get so into their head about it That doesn't even end up being enjoyable either. So here's the issue, is that we're trying to relate from a place of in the head, of shoulds, from a place of disconnection. Now, the way I teach it and the way I work with clients is intimacy can happen. I believe sex starts outside the bedroom. And let's clarify something. Passion doesn't need to be a sexual relationship. Why does it always have to be about sex? It doesn't have to be about. You can be sexually fulfilled and be having less sex than someone else. I'm the first one to say maybe take off sex from the table. Take it off the table for the moment. And I truly believe, and I want to encourage everyone to focus more on connecting with themselves. Because when you can tap in and you can activate the aliveness in your body, that radiates out of you. And guess what? That's felt by the people around you. And when your partner can feel that, you're automatically opening him up to want to connect with you. And that's where, to me, that is where the passion starts, is when two people are connecting with each other. And I can't describe what passion is because that's different. For me, passion is so different because my partner is going in and out of spinal surgeries. We're not very touchy-feely because he's in too much pain for that. However, I can feel the pleasure rippling through my body when I'm with him. He makes me laugh, and laughter is rippling through my body. We have the excitement. We use our words more than touch because of our struggles at the moment with touch. With his pain, we can't do as much touching, so we use other methods of intimacy. And then talking to intimacy. So sex comes out of the bedroom. So let's stop talking about passion as in the sense of needing to have more sex. Let's focus more on the intimacy outside the bedroom because that is what we are lacking. How can you invite in little bits of intimacy? When can you hold hands? Do you hold your partner's hand as you're driving down the street? Put your hand on his lap. Give a little hug. Before Jay had his spinal surgeries, we used to lie and hug each other on the couch while we were watching TV at the end of the day. The kids were in bed, they were asleep. But instead of sitting at the opposite ends of the couch, pretending the other person doesn't exist and waiting to go to bed and numbing out, tuning out, we would hug each other, cuddle each other. That's a form of intimacy. How often do you have your deep, vulnerable conversations with your partner, inviting them into how you are feeling? Actively listening to each other. Allowing your partner to see you through it all. Hold on a sec, someone's at the door now. No, sorry, busy.
Hello.
No, sorry, busy.
Yeah.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Door knockers. As you can tell, there's some things I'm available for and some things I'm not. So, to invite in or to reignite the passion in your relationship, how can you invite in these small little intimate moments? Maybe it will be feeling uncomfortable in the beginning. That's okay. You can tap through it. You can breathe through it. Hold yourself through it. But then I also want to encourage you to focus less on your partner and what you're wanting from your partner and giving yourself. How can you meet your own needs instead of relying on your partner? How can you choose to connect with yourself? Maybe it's just for 2 minutes before you go to bed at the end of the night. Instead of going to bed with all these built up stagnant energy that you've collected throughout the day, how can you put on a couple of songs and just breathe, move your body, touch your body, give yourself a breast massage, wiggle your body, just sensually touch yourself. Tune in to how you are feeling. Because you're going to find it hard to connect with your partner on that deep level if you're so disconnected with yourself. When you're connected to yourself, your light shines brighter. You are more radiant. That's been felt. When you're allowing pleasure to ripple through your body, you become a well-pleasured woman, and that is felt. And that doesn't necessarily have to be through penetration. I had this coach once, and she taught me the most amazing thing. And I practice it all the time. Actually, I haven't done it for a little bit, which is a reminder to myself to do it. But the ability to go outside and just stop and feel penetrated by life itself. You can be a well-penetrated person for the sake of sentence without the intercourse itself, energetically. And that can be felt by the people around you. And this coach also said this saying, which is so true. Remember that saying as a kid, and you would always say when someone's so rigid and tight, oh, they've got to stick up their ass? It's true. It is felt. So when you open yourself up and you're freeing for that energy and the pleasure to ripple through you, that is felt by the people around you. And to me, like, that's what calls in the intimacy. That is what calls in more passion in your relationship. You don't wait on your partner to do all the things and to bring back the excitement, blah, blah, blah. No. Your energy is doing it. By who you are being, you are opening yourself up to receive. Where when you're living in your head and your body is closed and it's full of stagnant energy, even when your partner's trying to be intimate with you, or to give some kind of love, or to help you, or to support you, or however a man does it, because they do it differently to women, how often do you shut it down? I know before I was open, and because I met my partner as I was going through my sexuality training, I remember a lot of the times he would try to be close with me and I would just shut down. My body would close in and I'll be like pushing him away. Or every time he gave me a compliment, I would laugh and roll my eyes at it. Or expect that he just wanted, sex. Like, there were so many ways I was actually shutting down the romance because I was stuck in my head and I wasn't open to it. So the more you can expand your capacity to receive, the more you can liberate your body and just be in your own pleasure, you're going to open yourself up and your relationship up to more magic, to more radiance, to more intimacy. Does that make sense? So to me, it's less about the steps that you can take, but more about who are you being? How can you take charge? How can you connect deeper? How can you receive more? How can you be an energetic match for more? Maybe you need to have those deep conversations with your partner about your desires, about your needs, about what you're wanting. And that could be a good starting point. Where's the conversation happening in relationships? We assume so much. We expect so much. We want so much. But yet we expect our partners to be mind readers. Or we make their energy or who they're being to make it about something about us. Where how can we not allow how they're feeling to affect us? How can we remain open and free and alive while holding space for our partner? While allowing them to be on their own journey. Knowing that it doesn't have to mean anything about us. It could be they just had a bad day at work. They're tired. They're exhausted as well. Instead of turning that into an argument or a point of disconnection. Oh, they're moody, so I'm just going to go do my own thing, and you get all in your own little bubble about it. Why not just go, I'm just going to give them space. I'm going to remain being embodied in my body, going with the flow, being me, parenting, doing the things from a place of femininity, yes, that's the real thing. And then allowing them to journey, because guess what? They process things a lot quicker. And then they will meet us when they're ready. And then just finally, I just want to encourage, don't let kids hijack your relationship. It's so often we put them first and what they need, etc. We forget about us and we forget about our partner, or we begin to have resentment towards them. And it's very hard to then connect or be intimate or to have passion in a relationship if you're holding resentment towards your partner. And the resentment could be because, there's a lot of, I don't know how I feel about it, but there's a lot of talk about mother rage. There's jealousy. Mothers do so much. Mothers are constantly attached and all the things. It's not wiped on, and we've got to be the one to comfort. We've got to do this. We've got to do the school drop off, the pick up. Like, there's a lot that mothers do. And sometimes we can have resentment towards our partner because they sometimes, and I'll have conversations with Jay about this, is the jealousy in the sense of he gets to go to work and that's it and come home. I would love that. However, my days consist of a lot of different hats, a lot of different emotions. My kids all feel big emotions, or they're very energetic depending on which one you're talking to. And it can be hard. So when you're having resentment towards your partner because of some reason, because your needs aren't getting met, because you're not feeling seen or heard or seen as a woman or whatever it is, that shit needs to be healed. You need to be in a process of how can you heal that? How can you forgive that? Because you can't expect to connect with someone when energetically you're like resenting them. You've got anger towards them. Because that's felt. If you're feeling that in your body, they're feeling that. Do you think they're going to feel safe or open to be intimate with you, to be close with you? If they can feel that you've got this energy towards them. No. It's felt. So be in an active process of how can you clear that? How can you release that? How can you forgive that? How can you see things differently? How can you see things through the lens of love? And constantly creating a relationship. It gets to be constantly revolving, expanding. It's a daily practice. You can't have the relationship you truly desire. You can't have the passion and the intimacy if you aren't willing to put energy into it. And that's what we're lacking in today's society, is relationships, especially in marriage. When you're with someone for a long time, when you have kids, it tends to have a back seat. And something that I learned about in the sexuality school that I did is the new paradigm of relating, which is kind of I shared a bit about in the podcast last week, but it's all about relationships are different now. And relationships, to me, I believe that you should be looking at yourself first. You should be the top person to consider. And then it's your lover, and then it's your relationship. It's the relating. But I truly believe that tending to yourself first is opening you up to the magic. If you have a busy day with the kids, well, how can you ground yourself after the kids? I've got many practices that just message me. I've got lots of practices that I've already created over the years that I can send you to ground you, to let go of that energy. This all gets to happen within minutes the more you practice it. So something that started out as a 30-minute practice of ritual of connecting with yourself and feeling the pleasure, etc., can now happen within minutes. It's just like everything. You don't always have to dive into this long, massive thing. It's just, to me, a relationship is you're relating from a place of who you've been and relate from that place. Relating from a place of pleasure, relating a place from your heart. knowing that if you're in a relationship with a man, they relate differently. The feminine and the masculine relate on a different place. So if you're expecting your man to relate how you are, you're going to be disappointed. Because they're more masculine, and the masculine is a different way. So let me know if you want me to do another chat about the feminine and the masculine in order for it to come into union. But for now, I feel like I've said what I've needed to say about passion and intimacy in your relationship, especially if you're a busy mom, you're doing all the things, you're being the superwoman. And if you have any questions, you know my DMs are open. I have reopened my 3-month mentorship. So if you want to dive more into coming home to your sexuality, coming home to your pleasure, having better sex and relating on a deeper level, then send me a DM. We can book a free discovery call and have a little chat about it, see if it's right for you. But that is now open, and I will talk to you soon. Bye, my loves.